All right, welcome back to the Elias Macco Show. It's 11:22 right here on CJAD 800. Now, last Thursday, a 36-year-old man seriously injured in a head-on collision during a police chase. Footage which was released in the aftermath of the crash showed one car with its front torn off, another lying crumpled in a ditch nearby. Now, Quebec's police watchdog is investigating after this collision occurred because a police officer noticed a driver traveling dangerously, then activated his lights and began to intercept the vehicle. Now, this incident occurs just days after a man was shot by police during an investigation, also being investigated by Quebec's watchdog. So let's have a discussion now about police training, about what is the training that goes into making sure that when police have to use deadly force or get serious, that they're doing so when absolutely necessary. Paul Chablo joins us on the line, Chair of Police Technology at John Abbott College. Paul, welcome back to the show.
Hey, how are you? Nice to talk to you again.
Great to talk to you. And listen, obviously, we have two cases here. They're being investigated by the BEI. We're not going to get into the specifics. I more importantly want to talk about the training that goes into, training the next generation of police officers as to when they need to go to those great lengths, when they're going to use deadly force, when they're going to turn on the lights to do a police chase in a car, because that we know is dangerous. So what can you tell us about the training that, police officers to be get on this?
Well, it's a busy week, I can see in police. So which one do you want to start with? Do you want to talk with force? Do you want to talk with pursuits?
Let's talk about the pursuits, right? Because we see that all the time. I see the lights turn on and the police cruiser go down the road all the time. Let's start with that.
Well, what we train our officers to do is that when there's a car chase, there's different factors you have to consider. What type of crime is it? How serious was the crime? Is it a stolen car, or is it someone that just committed a murder? Is it a drunk driver that if the person keeps going that they'll kill someone? Or is it somebody just who committed a shoplifting? It all depends on the seriousness of the crime. Taking into consideration time of day, location, chances of capture. What's the risk to public life? Are they on a country road or on a school zone? So obviously, if they're chasing someone who's intoxicated and may kill four other, vehicles with the passengers driving up ahead, then they'll have to intervene a lot quicker.
And, I think you went through a lot of like the split-second decisions, right, that a police officer has to make. This is not an easy task, right? There's a lot of factors going through their brains when they've got to make that decision.
Oh, absolutely. They have 2-3 seconds to make that decision whether to run into the car, to pursue the car, while afterwards, they're being judged by people who are experienced in the field, but who have hours and hours to analyze the investigation and the whole recording of the call, step by step.
And I've heard people say, well, there just should never be a chase. That no matter what, by turning on the lights and following, you are making things worse, making things more dangerous for everyone on the road. What do you say to that?
Well, I'll answer your question with a question. If somebody's daughter or son was kidnapped, would they want the police to chase after the vehicle or not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, obviously, just asking that question answers it, right? Because I think we'd all answer the same way.
Somebody murdered your wife. Do you want the police to capture them or not? I mean, yes, it's a whole complex process, and that's why the officers are trained to put common sense and take it into consideration the factors that I mentioned. But sometimes it's absolutely necessary. Other times it should be avoided.
In your program at John Abbott College, after they leave the program and they go to, let's say they're in Quebec and they go to Nicolet.
Yep.
How much time is spent on this?
Well, they have a whole course on the whole notion of driving. We have a 45-hour preventative driving course where we address the minor issues, but then they get the complex issues based on what's called a hybrid approach with a simulator. And, of course, practice on the roads. It's a lot easier to practice up in Nicolette near the country roads than it would be in Montreal.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you about this other case here. When it comes to using deadly force, when it comes to taking out your service weapon, what can you tell us about the training on that end? And when you hear a police officer has used their weapon, what goes through your mind?
Well, the whole notion is the notion of force equals resistance. What that means is the more the individual resists, the more the police officer can use force. The less the individual resists, the less force there is. And I'll give you two examples. Let's say you go to a protest and there's a sit-in. Well, the sit-in, you want to remove the people from the place. You don't have to use any type of violence. What you use usually is a simple pressure pressure hold that you lift the person up and you take them away. But you arrive on a call and there's a holdup in progress and the suspects are coming out with their weapons drawn. Obviously, deadly force would be justified, especially when the individuals are attempting to hurt the officers.
And, there's a whole bunch of tools available now to officers, right? You got the pepper spray, right? Go down the list that's on the belt right now.
Well, they got the PR-24s, they got the pepper spray. The tactical squads, what are called, different types of plastic bullets and equipment like that. But I mean, in my time when I started as a rookie, all we had was our flashlight or our gun or our hands. And hand-to-hand combat is part of the resistance. If an individual attempts to harm you physically, you have two options. You could use pepper spray or you could use physical intervention, But if at the same time, if that same individual is trying to take away your weapon and, you're struggling for your weapon, it could go all the way up to deadly force. And you said it so well before, Elias, you have seconds to intervene. You have seconds to make that decision.
You said PR-24 before. Is that a taser? What was?
Oh, sorry. It's a baton.
It's a baton. Okay, that's a baton.
It's an intermediate weapon. They're called intermediate weapons. And the whole goal that we teach them is to neutralize the danger and to stop the threat. There has to be, a capacity to stop the threat. I mean, we've answered calls where we come in and, there's been a conjugal violence and the individual is in a process of choking, his or her spouse. You know what I mean? So. There has to be a use of force that's applied. And police are allowed. There's a popular misconception that people think, police brutality when police use force if they strike somebody. And they're totally false. A lot of times you'll know that the force is justified even if an officer strikes an individual because, like I said before, the whole notion of force is based on the resistance the person provides.
And what are they, when it comes to the last resort, using your gun, what are police officers trained as to just what needs to be necessary in order to justify that use?
Well, their life is in danger. They're in immediate danger of being either killed or seriously injured or somebody else too. Because don't forget the police mandate is to protect life and property. So if somebody's life is in danger or their own life's in danger and, their only option is to use their service weapon, then so be it. They'll use their service weapon and it's justified. Keep in mind that besides the military during wartime, the police are the only individuals who are allowed to take a life when justified with the use of force with their weapon.
Mm-hmm. Paul, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks so much for coming on and
demystifying
some of this. Appreciate it. That's Paul Chablo, Chair of Police Technology at John Abbott College.